Welcome to the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Krystal. We're business coaches and retreat hosts for bold, purpose-driven women who are ready to build businesses that actually fit their lives.
This podcast is for the authentic, rebellious entrepreneur who's done playing by everyone else's rules. We know what works because we've lived it, coached it, and savored the journey.
Join us for real talk on business, life, and everything in between.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Serendipitous Rebel Podcast. And Krystal and I are super excited that we're joined by Tracey Male, a health coach, personal trainer, and passionate advocate for holistic well-being. Tracey's work is rooted in lived experience. After years in the fitness industry, she realized something many women discover the hard way. Exercise alone isn't the full solution to feeling well. Like you can't exercise your way out of bad eating, kind of like that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So through her own health challenges, she uncovered the transformative power of healing with food and began guiding women through what she calls three pivotal phases: transitioning, healing, and maintenance. So she now supports women navigating chronic pain, hormonal imbalances, autoimmune conditions, type 2 diabetes, and the complex realities of midlife health. Oh my God, you are so speaking. I can't wait for this interview because those are all my hot buttons. Tracey also co-hosts the Happy Healthy Her podcast, where conversations about nutrition, menopause, and mindfulness are honest, practical, and refreshingly real. So in today's conversation, we're exploring what it truly means to look through a holistic lens and why joy in life and business is deeply connected in how in how we care for our bodies, energy, and nervous systems. So welcome. We're so excited to have you today.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, awesome. Okay, just to get things started off, I was going to ask, so you began as a personal trainer. What did you start noticing that made you realize fitness wasn't the whole picture?
Oh my. Okay. Well, it was
That could go
again my
any
own.
number of ways.
It was my own health. So I was a
Mhm.
personal trainer in my 30s, and
Okay.
I absolutely loved that. I used to go to women's homes. I would train them there.
Oh,
So I really, really liked that.
yeah.
I took a nutritionist course and I did all that stuff. I didn't agree with anything on that, right? So I stopped taking that course, and then life took me in another direction. And then I stayed. I always worked out. I always, I was eating what I thought was the healthy foods, what we all hear
Mhm,
is the
mhm.
healthy foods. I struggled with ocular migraines my entire life. I got my
Oh,
first one
wow.
in grade 6. I
Oh,
had
wow.
severe constipation my entire life. And when I say severe, it's like I would go once a month. If I got my period, I would go to the bathroom if I was
Oh,
lucky. I
wow.
spent a lot of time in the hospitals because of that.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
my was always told, eat more fiber. You got to eat more fiber. Eat more fiber. And you'd eat more fiber, and I'd be like 6 months pregnant. My
Oh,
tummy
wow.
would bloat up and things would just lock up. It did not work for me. So anyway, working out, exercising, movement, none of that helped with those situations. And then, my goodness, I had ovarian cysts that were bursting all the time. I had fibroids, so I ended up getting a hysterectomy when I was 42. I had blood sugar crashes, like serious. I was never
Wow.
diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, but I couldn't go 2 or 3 hours without eating. And
Wow.
I would go to the doctor. And I think because I looked healthy, they just, you're okay, you're fine, right? And the blood test, I don't know about where you guys are, but here the blood tests they do are very basic, right?
Mhm.
So They don't check all, like your thyroid, all the panels, all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't until I was 49, when I turned 49, that was when things really started. I was getting a migraine every week. I get took over my life. I get stuck on the side of the road. I couldn't drive. And I was still very fit at the time, right? So I looked the part. Just the cysts, my ovarian cysts were bursting on a weekly basis. I ended up in the hospital from one because I couldn't, it wouldn't burst. It lasted all day. My leg, I couldn't lift my leg anymore. So I ended up in emergency in the middle of the night. And that's when I found out I had also had fatty liver and gallstones. And so it's like,
Oh
what
my
is
gosh.
going on, right?
Mm.
And at that time, I had done keto a few years prior. And so I asked the nurse when she said you have fatty liver, because I didn't understand enough at the time, right? Because keto was very, very new back then. Nobody
Mhm.
really even knew what it was. And I said, "Wow, I was doing keto. Is that what caused the fat
Yeah.
on my liver? Because I was eating all that fat?" She said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, probably that's what did it."
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm like, "Wow, okay." And it's like, "So what do I do about that?" She said, "Don't worry about it. Everybody, pretty much everybody has fatty liver. It's okay."
No, no,
That was the advice I was given. And so,
no.
right? And I was like, that doesn't sound right to me, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, you start doing your own investigating, and I'm very much a person, I want to know the why behind
Mhm.
everything, right? Like, why is this? Why is that? Explain this to me. So I started doing my own research, and I found out it's absolutely not the truth that
Right.
eating fat causes your fatty liver, right? It stops it, if anything, right?
Oh,
It's very, very
interesting.
good for you. So that's when I turned things up. I end up going straight up to carnivore because I had gone back to keto,
Mhm.
and at that point too I had fibromyalgia. It was my body was attacking me crazy. I everything hurt. I
Mhm.
was always pretty tough. I was doing, I loved sports. I loved all that kind of stuff. And if I simply banged my hand, it would put me into tears because my entire body was in so much pain. And I had a cleaning business at that time. So I was cleaning, I was working out, and I
Yeah.
was suffering every day just because you're a woman, you just push through, push through, push through,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then, same old story. Everybody's got their stuff. And then it was when I went carnivore. That was a complete game changer for me. And I don't think everybody needs to go carnivore. Like everybody's so different, right? So,
Mhm.
but for myself, it absolutely stopped my constipation. I haven't had a problem in 6 years in that
Wow.
area, right? So that was a kind of a it was a lot to wrap my brain around
Mhm.
that because we're told the exact opposite of all this stuff, right? So yeah, I did that and the inflammation stopped. I all my muscle tone got more extreme than not extreme, but just more
Mhm.
defined, right? My brain fog, that was the big one. I had a lot of brain fog back then,
Mhm.
and I still remember how clear it was. Like, wow, I can think. I'm not losing words every other sentence and that kind of stuff. So that was it worked really well for me. And
Wow.
I still kind of follow, like I'm not as strict. I don't like to call myself carnivore. I don't like the labels. I don't like that stuff. I just
Mhm.
eat what works with my body, and I think everybody should do that. So I don't know. I
Oh my
kind of went off on
gosh.
a tangent there.
No,
I don't know
no,
how I even
that's
answered your question.
because I was thinking through these personal struggles, how did that help you reshape the way you coach today?
Oh, it's I think the number one thing is trust your gut, right?
Love it. Yeah.
We go to the
Yeah.
doctor all the time and they say, well, your labs are in range. It's probably just your hormones. You're just getting older. This is part of aging, right?
You
And it's
use
just
my doctor. Yeah.
yeah,
It's within
yep,
range.
yep, everything. And that's that was why I never got help, because my numbers were always in range. And it wasn't until this past year that my nervous system completely kind of, my adrenals, I went into postmenopause. And so that that pushed my adrenals to freak out because there was nothing left. I had high stress stuff in my life. So I was always in that fight or flight for many,
Mm-hmm.
many years, like most of us, right? Um, and I didn't realize how much. I always knew that I had adrenal burnout, or some people call it that, whatever. My adrenals were taxed, right? But I didn't
Say the least.
understand, right? I didn't understand that post menopause, I didn't know how much your adrenals were needed at that point, right? So, and they're all you have for energy and to keep you going. So then I found a naturopath here where I'm living now. She's fantastic. She did the proper testing, and that's when
Mm.
they found out, because I started gaining weight. I didn't know I couldn't stop gaining weight. I gained like 35 pounds, and it was just like, what is happening? I didn't change what I was eating. I was trying to work out more, like they keep telling you, work out more, just work out more. And that made me gain more weight. If I cut back
Mm.
on what I was eating, I gained more weight. Nothing made any sense. So that's what made me actually go to the naturopath finally, because it wasn't computing in my brain what was happening. And that's when I found out I have hypothyroid and Hashimoto's. All right, so that I was like, okay. And then my adrenals are completely done, and we're getting those all back now. Like everything is coming back online, and my nervous system is calming down. And yeah, so
Wow.
Wow.
it's, if something doesn't make sense to you, and it could just, like, what, I'm doing everything the same. Question that, right? And don't stop until you get answers, because it's not normal. It's not right.
Wow. So I think that what is really interesting about that is because I think so much in the health space is built around men, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
normal range is like normal for a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normal
Right.
blood work, we do the blood work because we're looking in the lens of men, and it's like understanding that like our bodies and what's normal for us is very different.
Right. So different.
But when you like talk about that question, like trusting your gut, and it's like really talking about intuition, which we talk about with our
Right.
clients all the time. I think that's a majority of, I think so many women know what they need to know,
Mm-hmm.
and they just don't have the confidence to
No.
trust their intuition. What is the first step that you do when you work with clients where you're saying, okay, how do you help them lean into that intuition or even hear it for the first time? Because I think our intuition is drowned out by so much outside noise all of the
Yes.
time.
Yes. 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 So, oh, it's so true. And then even so with that, we're almost taught to not trust ourselves. Like you go to the doctor, you know something's wrong, and they tell you you're fine. You go back, it's like, geez, maybe I'm just losing my mind. Right. So
Mhm.
Yes.
I think to answer your question, it's more, that's where having a coach really does come in handy, right? Because it's somebody else looking at your experiences and listening to what you're saying that can give that other perspective to kind of, it's that reassurance, like, you know what you're saying is right. What you're saying is real. This isn't right. You do listen to you, what you're saying, right? All these symptoms you're talking about absolutely point to these, whether it's your thyroid or whatever it is, right? Your
Mhm.
nervous system. Tell us, the doctor only looks at, and not to bash doctors, they have their purpose for sure.
Sure.
But I find they look at the one issue, right?
Mhm.
Instead of looking at the whole picture and
Mhm.
looking at your history and what has your stress levels been like? What are you eating? How are you sleeping? Are you moving? All the stuff is going on, right? Like if they had done that, they would have absolutely known that my thyroid was not good, right? If they had looked at that years ago. No.
Wow. Yeah. It's so, if we just back up a little and share with the listeners, how do you define holistic health. Especially we know it's now become a bit of a buzzword. I'm just not
Yeah.
sure most of us really understand, what does it mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good question too. I think, in my opinion, holistic health is just getting rid of the processed garbage, right? So one ingredient foods, if when you're talking food, right? It's not using medication, obviously, right? There's so many natural ways. It's getting more grounded and in touch with nature, walking in the grass and bare feet. To me, that's being holistic, right? You're breathing deep, you're being conscious, you're here and now, right? That to me. Anything that doesn't involve medication, to me, you're being holistic. There's always supplements, and every person needs their different supplements, and there's nothing you can recommend for anybody without testing, I don't think. You need to be very, very careful with that.
No, I think that's really interesting because a lot of our audience, a lot of who we work with are business owners. So they're women like yourself, but they'll run the gamut. We've worked with health and wellness coaches. And what I think is so interesting is really leaning into, again, this holistic view, this whole life view, not just looking at the singular focused, because I think that it's all intertwined, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you think physical health impacts decision-making processes for women?
Oh boy. Yeah,
That's a
it's
loaded
huge.
question.
It's a loaded
Yeah.
question,
I love
and you
it.
can take it wherever you want
I
to
love
go.
it.
But I think that, but I guess the reason I ask as well is that I think so many of the people we work with and so much of our audience, and myself included up until very, very recently, will deprioritize my own physical health
Yeah.
amongst everything else to the
Yeah.
point, and our audiences know this story, and Wendy certainly knows it because she was there living with me. I was throwing up 8 times a day because of stress
Oh.
and anxiety, and could not come up with the answer, and was going from gastroenterologist to doctor to everything
Oh
else,
my goodness.
trying to figure out the root of what was going on, like why I could not keep food down, and had even looked at anxiety, but was easily dismissed as anxiety very early on because, kind of like you, I looked like a very put together, well-spoken, calm individual. And I think that
Right.
I could walk the walk and I could talk the talk, but like my body was basically telling a completely different story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the body is not going to let you lie your way
Yeah.
out of
No,
this,
exactly.
right?
You can't. Yeah.
And so when you think about, like, how does a person's physical health, again, back to the original question, really impact their decision making?
Oh, it's huge. Like again, you think your own personal experiences, right? You
Right.
don't take the risks that you might take. You wake up and you're just, you're so tired and exhausted. The thought of taking on more,
Mhm.
even if you don't realize it at the time, it will stop you from moving to that next level. You might self-sabotage just to protect yourself and not even realize you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
It's that whole um it's calm. You need to calm your body before you can heal your body, right? Like you can't push harder and harder
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
with a sick body because you're not ever going to gain the level of success that you are aiming for. You
Mm-hmm.
just don't have it in you. Even though your will might be there, your body will absolutely stop you. I'm in
Yeah.
my own experience, it will stop you. Like yourself, you will be throwing up 8 times a day. You will get migraines. You will get, you won't sleep at night. It's
Right.
going to stop you one way or the other until you listen. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, this is such an interesting, it's just, and it hits so close to home. How old was I? Early 50s, was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Mm.
And that was such a game changer for me, because then it was like, I'm never drinking another. Well, I drink my Coke Zero now, which is not that great either. But
Yeah.
there was no more sugar beverages at all. That was it, gone, kaput. And that meant that was the start of really taking exercise seriously, thinking about food choices, and also, realizing that sleep plays a factor and all these different things. And also realizing that I heard up until that point, oh, well, but these numbers are normal for you. This is normal for you. What does that mean? There, and the complete lack of understanding, and then feeling very much like they're just pulling the wool over my eyes, like, and they don't want to, and don't want to be bothered with me. So, I am on a fairly low dose at this point. And, but I also had a doctor who said to me, this is fabulous, that because because I was diagnosed with type 2, you have to be on cholesterol medicine, because so they put me on a statin. I've never in my life, and the numbers have always showed, I've never had a cholesterol problem. And finally, I was like, I'm done with this statin. These are not particularly good for your body. It impacts your heart. And what's so fascinating now is my good cholesterol's gotten better since I'm off of it, and my bad cholesterol is still not bad. So I was like, yeah, I don't need this, and I don't know why. Just because. Anyway, yeah,
It's their
it's
go-to protocol.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. But and I think one of the things that we really preach at Serendipitous Rebel, and we have this framework that we call Savor, and that's step out of your comfort zone, align your passions and purpose, venture under your own power, which does include movement, open to connection and community, unwind with self-care, and ritualize gratitude and celebration. And yeah, well, and it's all about this, broader, holistic. It's how you feel, what's internal, what's external, how you move your body. Yeah, I made a conscious choice that, and I still every now and then feel a little bad about it, is that I row almost every day. I get on a rower and I row. And most of the time it's smack dab in the middle of the morning. So I don't start work till later, but I feel better and I'm a much more productive, healthier, oh my God, happier. I mean, poor Krystal has to hear me on days where I don't row. So yeah, I'm just really very curious about how you see like entrepreneurs who really we normalized our symptoms in the past, you know but aren't there red flags that we should be looking at and taking seriously that we clearly missed? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The big one is the 2:30 a.m. wake up. Like, find me a
3
woman
a.m.
who's in their 40s that doesn't wake up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Okay.
Like, that's a big one. Regular tasks that you used to be able to do without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now you're struggling to get through them. You're pushing every day. It's like, oh, I used to be able to do that and not even think about it. And it's not because you're getting older. Like, there's something going on, right? Are you waking up with more pains than you used to wake up with? Right? All of a sudden your shoulders hurt or your knees are hurting, or all those kinds of things. Are you getting more headaches than normal? If a stressful event comes on, do you instantly get a headache now where maybe you didn't before? Right? All those kinds of things to me are big red flags. Like, that something's not right.
So I think you guys both actually just said something that kind of was interesting to me because, both of you were told by doctors one thing or told by somebody, and I'm going to say it I'm going to frame it in this way. Somebody with expertise and authority said this was the answer. And you both have noticed in the past, like, I don't think that's it.
Mhm.
That's a hugely brave thing to do. One is to say, like,
Yes.
no, I don't think that's right. Or like Wendy, you're like, I'm not gonna take the statin anymore. Or Tracey,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm gonna go back and get on the diet that's gonna work best for me, right?
Yeah.
What would you say? I'm gonna ask you both this question now. I'm gonna like hear it to
Nice.
you, and we'll start with you, Tracey, because I'm so curious. Like, what do you tell to the woman who is earlier in this journey or is just going through it, like, and not just from a health journey? I think this is a life
Yeah.
lesson, right? We as women are told from somebody from a position of authority or somebody that we respect that this is the protocol, this is the way you do it. But in our
Hmm.
guts, we just feel like that doesn't work. How do you
Yeah.
cultivate that confidence in somebody to say no,
Oh,
and how can they trust that going forward?
that's a great question.
Mhm.
Um, Part of me feels, again, Wendy, you can give your opinion on this. I think it really depends on the personality of the woman,
Mhm.
right? Like some people don't question, they would never question a doctor or like that. It's just, you have to be curious enough or just suffering, maybe suffering enough that you want more answers. And
Yeah.
so, excuse me, I would never say just stop your medicines cold turkey.
Mhm.
Just, well, how about we just change what you're eating a little bit? Or, you know, try to calm your mind down a little bit. Do you feel a little bit better? Yeah, that made it okay. Then you can start trusting that what you're doing
Mhm.
is helping way more than that pill you're popping every day that's making you sicker than better.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's,
Well, and I loved, Tracy, what you said about curious, because that is something I feel so strongly that as women age, we need to check the judgment at the door and
yeah.
really, really lean into curious. And I actually ended up having a different doctor. And so she said to me, and this was a she, and she
Mm-hmm.
said to me, well, let's see what happens in 3 months. We'll just run your blood work again. Stop taking it. We'll see what the blood work says.
Hmm.
And the blood work came back. Oh, okay. Well, why would, so it's also, I think, so important to really to ask the questions and ask for, like I have said, can you check my thyroid? Can you check
Yes.
this? Can you check
Mm.
that? Oh yeah, yeah, I guess I can. Or will you check
Yeah, that's
my
a good one.
iron levels? All these different
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
Let's check this stuff because it's, I always feel it's better to be proactive than
Hmm.
have to
Yes.
deal with something down the road. But yeah,
Yes. Yes.
and
I love that.
yeah, and it's there is the confidence thing. And I'm not sure because from the day we hit the doctor, and it's usually was a man when we were, or at least when
Mm.
I was younger, telling
Yeah.
me this is how you do things or this is what happens. And I'm not faulting men, and I'm sure not faulting
No.
doctors because,
Mm.
but I think that when we look at things as functional and holistic,
Mhm.
incorporating that into our beings are much, I think we're better off, but that's my
Mhm.
soapbox.
Absolutely. We have to advocate for ourselves as a word. Like that was a lot of people
Yes.
don't do that, right?
Yes, yes.
That's I loved how you were saying that's exactly big, big important one. Don't be afraid. I think too as we age, sorry, we
No, keep
get
going. Yeah.
more, we're more, I don't know the word brave, but it's you're not
Yes,
afraid to say, I don't
yes,
think that's right. Right? We're
yes,
getting we're more scrappy as we get older, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
I
Mm.
like that side of us though, as we get
Yeah,
older.
oh yeah,
I like the
fantastic.
scrappiness, to be honest.
Yep,
I like
yep.
giving,
Me
I like
too.
caring just a little bit less about what other people think. It's the most
Yep.
freeing feeling in the
It's a
entire
wonderful time of life.
world.
Yeah, exactly. We've been through the crap. Now it's our turn to not care so much about that.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So in the introduction, I mentioned 3 phases. Can you share with us more about the transitioning, healing, and maintenance? Because
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very
Absolutely.
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. The transition is absolutely calming first, right? We have to calm the nervous system, let the body know it's safe so it
Mm-hmm.
will exhale and stop holding on to fat, stop burning up energy because it takes so much energy to be in fight or flight all the time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the first. We transition food. That's another big one, right? Just again, I'm not big on cold turkey. A lot of people can't handle that. When you're younger, your body can handle it. When you're already
Mm-hmm.
stressed out and wrecked, cold turkey is not a good idea, right? So just gentle changes. Every once a week, make a slight change. Get rid of one bad food and see how you're feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you start to feel better, you know your body didn't really like that so much, right? So you're going through that. You're going to transition how you're working out. If you're working out at all, you might be working out too hard, which again, for a stressed out body, not a good thing. It's working against you, right? If you're not working out at all, maybe you can't yet, we'll just do simple stretches. Just get you moving a little bit until you can take 5 steps, or then you can walk for 3 minutes, or it doesn't have to be this big grandiose thing. Just
Mm-hmm.
start somewhere, right? Baby steps. Yeah, and then again, your sleep. So I like the 4 pillars, right? It's the food, nutrition, mindset, movement, and sleep. We got to cover them all. So we're going to make sure you're sleeping good. Let's change your routines a bit. And I myself, I had a problem with people like, oh, well, you got to turn your screens off and just, go to bed. That doesn't work for a busy brain. I don't know about you
Yeah.
guys. I
Mm-hmm.
I had to always have a TV on. I couldn't just go cold turkey with that either. It's like, okay, well, baby step it. Maybe set a timer for an hour after you go to bed. When you know, okay, I'm usually asleep within an hour, put on the TV timer so it turns itself off. Like just
Mm-hmm.
work with what works for you, right? I would try just going cold turkey and I'd lay there for 3, 4 hours, stressing out even more because now I only got a few hours left to sleep and it was
Mm-hmm.
no good. So, yeah, just baby step everything. So that's the transition side of things. And then from there, the next step is healing, right? So now we're going to tweak. What else can we hone in on? Maybe we can work out a little bit more because you're starting to get your energy back. You're starting to feel better, right? Your confidence is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Food. Now, if you cut back on a bunch of stuff, you want to put some back, let's start putting a little bit back and see. Does it affect you? Do you feel like, did you all of a sudden get a headache or your body started to hurt again? Okay, stop. That food is not for you, right? So it's just really listening and understanding what your body likes and doesn't like, right? So that's all the whole healing. You're going to take, maybe 2 or 3 months and it'll start really you are not going to be completely healed in 2 or 3 months, right? It took us 40, 50 years, whatever, to get to this point. It could take a few years to get out of it, but you will feel a hell of a lot better. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear, but yeah, you will
No
feel
problem.
much better, right? So, and that gives you that oomph to keep going, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, okay, I can think clear. I got the energy. I got my creativity back, especially as a business owner. You got that drive comes back. You get that spark back. And then from there it's the maintenance. So after you've gone to it's well, you don't want to go back to the way things were, right? So it's just maintaining the
Mhm.
status quo and learning to tweak if you need to, shimmy and right, but you're just going to maintain things and continue to get better and better and better. Yeah.
And I would think it's just making choices along the way through the process that you can live with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It has to work with
It's
your life, right?
right. Yeah. It's like that's what I always think about, like, keto, for example. It's saying you absolutely cannot have X or Y or Z. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. That
That's not, yeah.
yeah, no, that never really, very extremes never 100% worked.
No.
So yeah.
No, we're all human. You're gonna, you're gonna have that birthday party or
Yeah.
whatever you're gonna go to, and you're gonna have a piece of cake, or you're gonna have your booze, or you're gonna have whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not beating yourself up over that. It's like,
Yeah.
as long as you're not doing it every day or even every week, once a month you're going, you're having your thing, your body will get it will be able to handle that. I can have
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that now without it affecting me. If I do it 3 or 4 days in a row, oh
Okay.
man,
Right.
it's gonna be like it's like a kick in the teeth, right? But
Yeah.
once here and there, that's building up that the strength, your metabolism, your everything is can cope is what I guess I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
to say there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, you have more flexibility once you've
Yes.
healed. You might have to go without for a little bit as you're healing, but
Right.
then life happens and you got to be able to live your life. And you can't be that, oh, I can't do anything. That's not fun. That's no good. You have to be able to live, and not beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's a hard one for women unto
Oh,
itself.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the more you understand, like in my program, I don't want to just have somebody taking my word for stuff. I want to teach them what I've learned about nutrition that is completely different than what we've been told our whole life, right? So when you go to the grocery store, you're making a decision. It's not like, oh, well, I was told this. No, I understand this. This makes sense to me.
Mhm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
why I'm going to pick
Mm-hmm.
this food over this food, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's so, so important. It's empowering, right? To have
Mm-hmm.
you just feel confident in the decisions you're making. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how, so there's like my brain literally short circuited just now because there was like four different places I could go with all of that, right? So I'm just gonna like pick one. I think the biggest thing that I heard with that is when you were talking about gentle changes before, and I think that just came through again. So when you're working with a client, what is what is the first step that you look at when you're looking at their overall capacities for things? Because I think that, I think people can hear health and wellness, and I think that it really doesn't matter where we go. We can fall into extremes, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think women that are business owners and in that intersection of that Venn
Mhm.
diagram, like we operate in those extremes because that's just kind of the way we're wired,
We are.
right? It's
Yeah.
like driven and it's productivity driven and it's all of these things. But I think that those are the women that tend to end up burnt out, the most
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
misaligned. Like I said, we will deprioritize our own health for the cause, whether it's for the cause of the
Yeah.
business or the family or the PTO or whatever it is that they want to
Mm-hmm.
drive it with, right? I guess where do you start with clients when you're asking them to like slow that down and and pull that back?
Yeah, that's a good one. So when they first sign up, they have a questionnaire, right? So I send them the questionnaire, and that really goes through and helps to determine if it's like it seems like the adrenals are struggling or the thyroid is struggling, and then we kind of have a plan from that,
Mm-hmm.
and we can talk about like we have an hour conversation about that. It's like, okay, this is what I found, and this is what I think we should do, right? So again, it's so individual, but I want it to work with the person's lifestyle, right? So if you're driven
Mm-hmm.
and you're going, what are you okay with changing right now? And how can we do that so it works, right? Like, are you okay with changing this one part of your food? Yep, I can do that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Are you okay with setting a 2-minute boundary once an hour, like 2 minutes for yourself just to sit, shut everything off. Like just sit there for 2 minutes and whatnot. Are you okay with doing that? Can you try that? Or 1 minute, whatever, right? It's just those little wee things that that tells your nervous system you're safe, right? And it's not an extreme thing, and it's not going to happen overnight. We have to train it slowly that, you know what? This is my new normal. I'm not in this state all the time now. I can be calm. And that, because when you're like that, and we're all like that, like this always high strung, your body senses calm as stressed out because it's not the norm. And so that freaks it out, right? So you have to, in those little wee steps, just let it know, okay, this is going to be my new norm. So again, it's whatever the lady will feels she can handle and work with. And we go at that pace. It's not, you got to clean it all out in a week or two. No, just what works for you, right? Yeah.
Well, and I love that because it's really working from a place of alignment and not force.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Forcing doesn't help at all, right? When you're already stressed out and burned out. Yeah.
Right.
Oh. Well, and I realize the thing that I realize the most is that when you invest in your health, and we talk a lot about runways that, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your life, you have energy, time, money, all these different things. But really, these runways are also physically, emotionally, professionally. And when you have your health, you're able to expand your runways that allows you to do whatever it is that you want to do. And it's, and what is it? I always hear, and I can't remember what billionaire says this, but it starts with your health. You could have trillions and trillions of dollars, but if you don't have your health, what are you going to do with all this money? Exactly. So, what I'd love to know from you is if our listeners could take away one truth about their health, what would you say that would be?
One truth about your health. Your health is wealth, right?
Yeah,
Like
well,
that's it is all that matters. Is you can take, like you said, it doesn't matter if you have $1 billion in the bank. If you're sick and crippled up and you can't move, what good is it doing you, right? You're if you don't have the energy to, when you retire, you've worked and worked and worked your fingers to the bone, and now you're finally going to retire with your grandkids and go play, and you just don't have it in you. Like, what is the point in it all? Like, we all take, as women especially, we just put our health as, well, I'll get there. I'll just do this and then, right? Well, I'll do this first and then, but that and then never ever comes.
Yeah.
And then we end up sick, and it's just these horrible diseases, and we wait too long. Why do we wait for that?
That is so true. And it's interesting. This is coming on a couple conversations that Krystal and I have had this, in 2026 about, this is the last, we have a limited number of Februaries in our lifetime. We have a limited number of Januaries, a limited number of, you think about it, Valentine's Day, for example. Yeah. Many of us, we hope we're going to hit 90 in our lifetime. If you think about that's not really a lot. No. It's kind of like, maybe we'll have 90 Februaries. And, it's how do we really make the most of it? And it definitely starts with, we can travel all the time, or we could also make sure that we're healthy enough to do whatever it is that we want to do. Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's exactly. And that's, again, back, I had done a quick little video when I first started about, because I was sitting having my coffee. I'm like, why do people wait? Right? It drives me nuts. Like you say, you had your type 2 diabetes diagnosis, and then you took things seriously.
Oh, yeah.
People have to get cancer before they take things seriously, or they have to get whatever, right? And it's just it's too bad, right? If we could
No, it
just,
is. It definitely is. And
yeah,
I think that with the fact that there are a lot more health coaches
mm,
out there,
so many.
and
Yeah,
we are, I think hopefully as a society, or as, trying to see things smarter, simpler.
yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to think, but
We're getting there. I believe that too. Things are changing. Absolutely.
Well, and I guess if I would want any of our listeners to take away one thing, it would just be start today, start
yeah,
prioritizing
Yes.
health
yep,
Yep.
today. And I think that
absolutely.
one of the most beautiful things, so Wendy and I have a 20-year age gap between us.
Oh,
We're business
okay.
partners, been working for about 6 years together.
Oh, nice.
And I think that I used to look at Wendy rowing every day and Wendy doing Pilates every week and go, oh, must be nice. Eventually, I'll be able to do that too. And it wasn't
Yeah.
until maybe a couple years ago that that shift finally went. It was like, well, wait, why do I have to wait?
Right. Yeah.
I need to do that now. Because
Yeah.
again, when you're thinking about success, we want to think about there's so many questions about how do you define success, right? And I think
Mm.
that most of us tie that to a productivity, a number, right? A
Yeah.
financial
Yeah.
goal. And I think that success has to include the sustainability of your health as
Yeah.
well. And if that could be the lesson that we can model for women coming up the ranks behind us, or model it for women walking beside us, whatever it is that we want
Mhm.
to look at, that, what a beautiful gift that we can give the world. So for
Oh,
that
yeah.
reason alone, Tracey, we love the work that you are doing, because
Thank you.
Mhm.
Right back
yes,
at you.
this
So
this
nice.
yes, because like just this idea that we can create this beautiful, amazing world, but gosh darn it, we're not going to be able to stand up to the patriarchy if we're thrown up 8 times a day. I can tell you that right now from experience.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So funny.
So,
Awesome.
where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about all the work that you're doing?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. I do have my website. It's needing a good revamp, but it is there. It's naturesprotege.com.
Okay.
And I'll give you a link to my free resource, Four
Oh,
Steps to
great.
Finally
Perfect.
Feel Like Yourself Again.
Ooh,
So,
that sounds good.
yeah. Yeah, good. So I'll
Yeah, and we'll
give you
leave,
that. That's a good
yeah,
one.
and we'll definitely leave all of that in the show notes.
Yes,
Okay.
So, oh my gosh,
100%. Oh, well, thank you so much, Tracey,
Thank
for
you.
this
joining
has
us
been
today on the
awesome.
This has
podcast.
been
What an amazing
so much fun.
conversation. I know our listeners are getting a ton of benefit from it. And then I know we're set to chat again soon as well.
Yes.
So
You're
we're
coming on
looking
mine?
forward to it.
Yeah.
You have a podcast as well. And Wendy mentioned at the beginning, but share with your listeners your podcast. And I know that that's linked out on your website as well.
Yeah. I actually have two. I just started another one.
Oh,
The one I
wow.
do with the two ladies. So you'll become when you guys come on. There'll be five of us on the call, which would be so much
Oh,
fun.
that
So
sounds
much
like
fun.
fun.
Yeah, it'll be great. That one's called the Happy Healthy Her podcast,
Mhm.
and the one I just started this year is coming live here in the end of February. It's called Conversations That Heal. And
Ah,
so that one is just exactly like this, is just myself with a guest. It's unscripted. We just have a conversation for 30 minutes or so. So you guys will have to
Oh,
come on
awesome.
that too. Yes, it'll be so much fun.
wow.
Perfect.
Very much looking forward to that. So you guys will be able to
Nice.
see all of this in the show notes.
Yeah,
Tracy, until next time, because I do believe there will be
thank
a
you.
next time. Thank you
Oh,
so much for
absolutely.
joining us today. Have a
Thank
great
you.
rest of your day. Thanks,
You
everyone.
too.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about our upcoming masterminding opportunities on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.
Hey, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.